ThaBoxingvoice.com live with Josue Aguilar. So Josue, man, I've had the opportunity to meet you a couple years back, and now I get to see the improvements. I think it's been, what, at least 2 years since you've been with Coffie?
I've been working for a year and a half. It's going to be this month.
With Coffie?
A year and a half and 6 fights with Coffie.
6 fights?
Yeah. When I first met you, it was I had 1 fight with him, and that was the last camp with Wilder for Ortiz too. That's when I met you.
He looks completely different.
This is 5 fights after that.
I mean, I guess completely different is a bit of a stretch, but he looks different. Would you agree?
Oh yes. Yeah, I agree. His stance is different. The way he's fighting is more different, more calmer, and we're trying to get him sharper.
So you're from Puerto Rico?
Yeah, Arecibo.
Arecibo, Puerto Rico. So did you train back in PR? Where did you pick up boxing?
I started picking up here. I started working at a gym. Jim and Christy Martin had a gym here back in the day. I was there, going there, training and everything. And next thing, one thing led to another. I started helping Jim train some fighters, and I ended up working with Ross Purity. I don't know if you heard about him.
You're from New York?
No, Ross Purity from Minnesota. He was the first guy that beat Vladimir Klitschko.
Okay.
Yeah. He fought Hasim Rahman and Michael Grant. And he fought a lot of Tommy Morrison. He fought a lot of people. Very good fighter. So from then I started doing my own thing with different fighters, including Francisco Palacios. I took him. We had a title fight in Poland. 2 of them. Got robbed in the first one. Everybody knows it. But. And with Alfredo Escalera Jr., Camacho Jr., Roland Bryant. I also work with one of the best trainers in Puerto Rico, Manny Siaka, en paz descanse. I had a great time. He was a great teacher, and learned a lot from him and all the experience he brought. He used to be the trainer of Chapo Rosario and a lot of fighters, great fighters from Puerto Rico.
So where would you say you picked up your technical teachings? I mean, because yesterday you were working with me, and you wanted me to throw the right hand a certain way and the knuckles to be pointed a certain way, and that's like technical things there. So where'd you pick that up to be so tedious?
Yeah, tedious, and have patience. You need to have patience, but I pick it up through a lot of study, a lot of working with different top fighters and different trainers, but a lot of study and picking up bits of information from camps that I've been with. Spending time in camp with some of the great trainers too. Been in camp with Nacho Berenstein. He taught me a few things that goes into that tediousness, and for the last fight of Finito Lopez, I was there in New York when all that happened. I was working with Manny Siaka Jr. and his dad. I was helping them. They got getting ready for a title fight on the Trinidad and Hopkins fight. Yeah, but at that time I met Nacho Berenstein too, so we spent a lot of time together because we stayed in New York longer than anticipated. Mm-hmm. So and then the study and everything, and just keep working and having the patience to understand some concepts, and then I try to pass it along to the fighters. But in your style, like you were saying, with you do some things. The right is just getting those to be more efficient regarding the way you throw the punches. That's all.
Absolutely. So, how'd you link up with Sean Mason?
I used to train his dad back in the day.
Wow.
And he had been telling me about him. I had never met him, but he had retired, but he had been mentioning, like my son, he can fight, he can really fight, but you hear that for people. Everybody think everybody can fight. So I just one day, he said, bring him to the gym, and I'll see him, and if it's what you say it is, we can work. Sean was 16. He just turned 16. So he brought him to the gym, and then I saw the type of energy that he brought. You know, even as a little kid, he was very, very mature, and then he showed me that he had some skills, but more than anything, he had a big heart. You know what I mean? Like he got in there he had no fear. Like big people, put him in there with somebody big, bro. And I started, you know, we're going to having some amateur fights, and I will take him spar anybody around. A lot of, you know, spar everybody that was good around here. He spar. But the good thing about him was that he never. I will tell him, you guys sparring tomorrow, and he will say, at what time? Okay, be ready. I'll go pick him up, and we just drove, and he never asked who. He never asked the record, or the weight, lefty, righty. No, none of those questions. So I'm thinking like, you know, something about Sean. I like that because you know, all the fighters that will give you, they want to have an encyclopedia of the life of the people that either fighting or sparring, and that makes them, you know, they get nervous and they start asking, oh, how many this and that and that, how much you weigh, blah blah blah. Next thing you know, the mind already defeated, you know, what they're doing.
So how long has it been now? 5 years? 4 years?
4 and change. Yes. So we had, you know, he had those 5 professional fights, and now he's back, and he's gonna get back in it 100%, and you'll see him fighting soon. We're gonna give him some time to get back in it, and once I see he's ready, then you know, get him a fight.
Do you have a month you're targeting?
No, I don't have a target month. It will be soon, but I just want to go by what I see when he does when he gets back in the ring and starts sparring and steadily the training and everything. Because his endurance, you saw how he only been, you know, trained. You know, he's came back, but you saw how you don't see him tired. And he's always been like that. He's had a lot of tired. You know, he's the most sparring he did one time was like 16 rounds with 3 different people, and he only stopped because they stopped. The other 3 stopped, but he wanted to. I think it was his birthday. He wanted to keep going past 20 rounds.
Wow!
And he had the energy, you know. Yeah.
So he's gonna be sparring Pitufo tomorrow, Christopher Diaz.
Yes. He's gonna be doing some rounds. You know, see how you think he feels and everything. They work before.
How many you gonna let him do tomorrow? Cause he's just getting back, right? He says this is third week.
I'm gonna let him do as many as long as he's doing well. I let him go. That's how we always do. You know what I mean? If I don't like
what you see.
Well, you see, you know, as long as he's, you know, I don't let fighters in sparring get, you know, taking this or that for nothing. You know, it's if whatever he has, I'll make a decision right there. But if he got 8 rounds, does 8 rounds. You know what I mean?
How important is sparring for you, for your fighters? Because I think I was interviewing Mike yesterday. He said he maybe had, I don't know, 6 rounds or for one fight. So can you prepare a fighter for a fight without sparring?
Well, yeah, we've done it before, but I like the sparring. Don't get me wrong, and you know, the way he expressed it is maybe, it's important, super important. But like, let's say in this situation with the pandemic and everything, the most important thing for us, is to make it to the fight.
Yeah.
And the more people, when you're in a bubble, and when you're in a situation like this where we were, you know, doing the testing and everything, the more people you go and spar, and this, you don't know what they're doing, and they don't have a fight, or they don't, you know, Coffie, you know, fights are important. You know, all of them are important, but you know what I mean. You got a TV fight, and you cannot be just pity paddling around, and then the thing you know, you pop a positive COVID, and then all the training goes to hell. So the most important thing for me is to make it to the fight, and we did the certain amount of sparring, but he was already at the high level in that sparring and everything. So I made the decision to call it early, because sometimes people keep going and then you go, and that's sometimes a lot of fights get canceled because of sparring they did the last few days of sparring, or some people have canceled fights think David Haight happened, where the week of the fight, they wanted to put in some more, the last few rounds, and those last few rounds are the ones that come back and bite you, because then all the camp
went to shit.
Exactly. Yeah, everything goes down the drain, and then you have nothing to show for. Making it to the fight is and making it to the fight in good, with no injuries. I put a lot of premium on that.
So how do you, I guess, replace the sparring?
I do a lot of. We do a lot of reflex work. A lot of reflex work. Distance work, timing work. We do the sparring. We just haven't been doing a lot of sparring. You know what I mean? And some, sparring. Sometimes in sparring is where the fighters pick up the most injuries. That's the beast. That's the game is like that. So you getting the rounds, and at the same time, not overdoing it is super important. But especially now during the pandemic and all these problems, we were trying to keep it as close as possible. That's why Coffie fought on the first PBC card when they did the bubble, and he was able to do those 3 fights, and thank God everything went well. But we didn't have any issues regarding, the COVID. Yeah.
So how did you meet Coffie? How'd you and him link up? Like, how are you training a heavyweight?
Well, I've worked with heavyweights and some cruiserweights too, like heavyweights. But I used to train Derek Rossi, a heavyweight from New York. You heard of him?
That's who I confused the other name. When you said Ross Purity, I confused it with Derek Rossi, the heavyweight. He's light skinned.
Ross Purity, yes.
And he fought Bermain Stavern. He dropped Stavern.
Yeah, and he fought Carl Drummond. We took that fight in that was my second fight with him. And we took that fight in 3-week notice.
What, the Stavern fight?
No, the Drummond fight. Carl Drummond, he had come up fighting for the title, lost a decision, technical decision to Chargaev, and he had lined up a fight against Klitschko. So they did a tune-up fight with Rossi on ESPN, and we took Sal Musumeci was his promoter. He asked me, "What do you think?" I said, "Let's roll the dice." And took the fight, and then Rossi beat him on ESPN, and he got two minor belts, which put him high, good in the rankings. And bad thing was for Drummond that he lost, that he already had a fight lined up with Klitschko, and a payday that came with that. So Sal Musumeci called me one day. I wasn't working with Rossi no more, but he called me one day, and he asked me if I was interested in working with a heavyweight from New York that he was going to move to Orlando area. So he asked me if I was interested. I'm interested if he can fight. You know what I mean? Waste of time. Yeah. And then he told me, no, the guy's 6'5", 200, and he said 280 pounds. And I'm thinking it's a big blob of like fat, and you know how it goes training fat fighters, that you'd have to spend more time. And it's a problem. I don't like that. So I'm thinking, this guy, sending me this, fat guy. Let's check it out. Then I saw the pictures, and then I saw Mike didn't look fat. I'm like, wow, that's weird. So he linked. I linked up with him. He came up here, and we did a couple of sessions. And he, I saw that he had something. But then, after working with him a little bit, it's a work in progress. It's a project. But he, see something he got. And then and I also told Sal, if I can get along with him, and then he can get along with me, then we can work. Because you gotta get along with the fighter. We work in the deal of everybody respects everybody. You know what I mean? It's mutual respect everywhere around. So he liked the little work as we did. We did like 3 days because he had to go, and then he went back to camp with Karnacki, I think. And he had one fight, and then when he came back, he called me. Oh, he had told me I was gonna. Oh, okay. When I get back, I'll this and that. But I'm not. what it's gonna be is gonna be. And then when he moved to Orlando, he called me up, and then we, started working. Working. I noticed that he had.
Did you do
he had
him like Sean?
Huh?
Did you do him like Sean and take him to spar without giving him names?
Oh yeah. But Coffie had already been there with Wilder and Karnacki and this and that, so that's not.
Doesn't matter.
He's already a big baby and all these people, so he doesn't. That's not gonna be. He don't care about anybody. But we started working. I noticed that he had the power, but I noticed that he had the good fast twitch muscles and I wanted to develop speed, because that's the best way to go, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So power will be there. If you have it, you have it, But being able to throw faster and everything and then he picked it up. He understood the system. He understood, what I was looking for, which is, like I was talking yesterday. Some of those when he had hurt people, not get a knockout, and then he told me I didn't throw it hard. I'm like, I'm happy for that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's to be able to hit hard without throwing hard. Some people have if you load up and everything, power, a lot of power, but the opponent will see it. So it will be a lot easier for you when you're able to land punches that they don't see coming. They're not ready for them, and then you hurt them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So he did tell us that he doesn't know his opponent yet, but he will be on the Ruiz Areola undercard. Possibility.
It's a possibility, exactly. It's not confirmed yet, but I should know within the next couple of days. If it's confirmed, you'll know about it. I'll let you know. Just like I did with the Darmani Rock. You asked me, you texted me, you said, is that right? And I said, yes. And you said, wow.
I did.
That's all you texted me. WOW.
Because, as like I told Mike yesterday, I mean, with all that experience, he had the amateur experience. Then he had 17 pro fights. And I know both of them. So it was like rocking a hard place for me, and I want to see them both succeed. So it was a difficult fight. And I was scared for Mike. I told him, I just thought Darmani's experience could show up. But there's been rumors of Darmani not training as hard as he should, but people could put those rumors on him because doesn't look like Mike, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he does train hard, but just doesn't look like Mike, and people give him that stigma. So it was a great fight, but I didn't never expect it to end it that way, and that's really impressive.
When Darmani, bro, he's a good fighter. Obviously, he's not. We don't have any. All my respect for him because he's a good fighter, and we know it was a fight of somebody's going somewhere, up or down. Crossroads.
Yeah.
But this sport is not for the timid. Fights like that they're offered. We think we're ready, and we're gonna go. You know what I mean? We're not gonna be trying to fool the fans into this or that. It's like you're gonna see the proof when the fight against whoever comes up happens. But I know exactly where Mike is right now, and they haven't been able to see the full,
everything, the whole arsenal.
The whole arsenal, because the fights didn't last that long, but there's a lot more that people will be able to see once continue to the step up, because we're looking for the step up fights.
Do you think you have the next American heavyweight champion?
This is a question of not what I think, but there's a possibility. You know what I'm saying? Time will tell. But he brings a lot. He has a lot that he brings to the table that is not common in the heavyweight division. Besides the size.
Like what?
Like
lateral movement.
Well, no. Well, he's a switch hitter.
Yep.
He fights very good as a lefty. His defense is improving. He's a counter puncher. But what I'm talking about is that he can punch, and he also can take a hit. Because in the history of boxing, there's been a lot of punches, but there's not a lot of them that were be able to punch hard and take a hard hit in the chin where they, because that's what you're going to face in the heavyweight division. You know what I mean? Being able to hit hard and being able to, you have the good chin. It's an important quality if you're going somewhere, because you're going to get clipped. You're going to get clipped. What happens after that?
It's up to your chin.
Yes. There's nothing. Two things. You either have a hard, you don't have it, and you have a good chin, or you don't have a good chin. And if you don't have a good chin, you can only go
so far,
and then everything is going to unravel. You know what I mean? But that's he brings that to the table, and he also has a high boxing IQ. He's good. He picks up information, and he puts it together in the ring.
Is his body punching your Puerto Rican background, or did he always like to body punch?
He already liked to throw body shots, but we have sharpened up the body shot. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I have, put a lot more different body shots into the equation, and so he's able to work the body shots as a righty, as a lefty, up close, mid distance, and the straight body shots. But yes, that's you got that right. We in Puerto Rico, we love, just like the Mexicans too. Body punching is a very important part of the game to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what do you like? What's the best characteristic you think Mike has?
The best characteristic is his character in the ring. His mind stays steady. You don't see him go high. You don't see him go low. He's, he gets hit. He changes. His expression is always the same. And one thing I like is that, and you notice, I don't know if you notice this, but Mike gets get the knockout, the stoppage, what have you, wins the fight. He doesn't start jumping and acting like a fool or anything, like he won the championship or anything. He just turns around and walks to the neutral corner. The fight's in, come back, take the gloves off. You know what I mean, like here, and then celebrate a little bit. But you notice how he doesn't. Those highs don't go into the crazy high, and then the lows don't go into the crazy lows. And so he's he's a steady mind, and that helps a lot in the ring, because then he can keep it, he can keep the focus going, and take care of situations without panicking, which is.
Are you guys at the point where you have to pay for sparring now because Mike is too close to the rankings?
Yeah, we're getting to that point. Like I told you for the last fight, we what's his name?
Worked out a deal with Trevor Bryant?
Trevor Bryant had a fight coming one day before. Congratulations to him. He beat Stavern, won that title. So we had that fight a day after his, so it was convenient because he was also around the same size of Dermani. And a very tough fighter, a good fighter, and we help each other, and both of us were aware of the COVID situation, and they didn't want to mess it up, and we didn't want to mess it up. So a group like that is a lot better when everybody has something
to lose
if they mess it up.
Everybody got something to lose. They work harder.
And they also taking care of each other. You know what I mean? When they don't have a fight coming up, they don't care or what have you. And next thing you know, what happens. It's,
definitely.
Everything goes bad.
You don't use social media, right? No social media.
Soon I will.
Catch you in the gym if they want to see you. Coach Aguilar, man, thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you to everybody for watching.
Appreciate you.
Ness.
If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, from title, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.